my God, you nearly made me cry. Let's not do that. My name's Holly Rae. I've worked in tech for, I was going to say 15 years, but it was actually 20 when I worked it out. I didn't go through the traditional route of things like university, college even. I literally leaped straight into the world of working and did some college courses that I paid for. Eventually ended up getting a job as an admin assistant in an office. And luckily, because I was doing these college courses, they offered for me to start doing a bit of tech for them because they needed some help with laptops and things. From there, I realised how much I loved tech, and I like applying for other jobs and doing all sorts of tech jobs. And throughout my career, I've been like an IT technician, things with servers, networking. I've then been a solution architect, lots of different leadership roles, and now I head up my own department for a managed service provider.
Amazing. So what made you first fall in love with tech?
It was actually my dad. Oh no, I can't know. It was my dad. So my dad loves anything to do with tech. My dad loves tech, and he brought home a PC, and I spent every night after school on this computer, and I loved that, and I loved figuring out how things worked and being creative and how games worked and how I could write documents and stuff like that. And and ever since then I've just loved tech, and I've always known I've wanted to do tech. I'm never quite sure what I wanted to do in tech.
So I was going to ask who showed you this career was possible.
To be fair, 20 years ago tech wasn't the industry it is now, so I don't think anybody 20 years ago could have shown me what tech looked like, just like I don't believe the kids today in 20 years they're going to have a completely different career path. There's probably jobs that don't exist yet that they'll be doing, but we don't know what they are yet.
What do you think needs to change for women in tech?
Flexibility.
Okay.
Georgie and I have actually been talking about it earlier, that even if, like myself, just returned to work after maternity leave, I've dropped my hours, I'm still doing the same job. I'm not given any less responsibility or any less work to do. I'm still fitting that full 37.5 hours into a shorter week. In the industry, we need to think about that, giving women that flexibility, that if you do want to come back and you do want to be part-time, who can pick up those hours that you're not doing, or what could be taken away to allow you to do that. You
have got your own book. Would you be able to tell us a little bit about this?
This is my getting into tech without starting over. I'm on maternity leave. I've always had this book in me, I think. I just didn't know where to start. And originally, it's what I thought was going to be a book aimed at 13 to 16-year-olds, helping them get into tech. This book is not that.
Okay.
This book is aimed at 30, 40, 50-year-olds who have got life experience, they've got career experience in other industries, in other sectors, and helping them understand what tech is, helping them transfer all those soft skills and knowledge that they've got into a new tech role, essentially. The book helps guide them through the different industries, the different parts of tech, the different worlds of tech, a little quiz, and there's some reflective questions in there, so that genuinely they come out at the end and they've got a plan of where they might fit into tech and what to do with that. If genuinely they get to the end and that is what they want to do, I've also got a supporting workbook that they can buy. It's for a very specific group of people who really like to write things down. There's over 200 questions in this workbook. It's like a doorstop, and you literally open it up, it's flat, and you can just write and write and write, and at the end you will have a full 30, 60, 90 day plan about where you're going to fit in tech and how you're going to do it.
What inspired you to do that?
Started with, in November 2024, I went to a school in Leeds and we did a presentation to them about working in tech. 250 kids in the room, and the question that we first asked was, how many of you are interested in working in tech? 5 hands went up. We spent an hour with them, telling them about the industry, the different jobs, the different skills that you need to work in tech, the different soft skills. An hour later, asked the same question, and over 30 kids put their hand up. So I think that tells us something. If we can change the kid's mind in an hour conversation, I suppose it shows us that there's a gap there at the school element, but also all those 30, 40, 50-year-olds that didn't have tech at school, how are they meant to know what that industry looks like?
One piece of advice then that you would have for girls wanting to work in tech?
Working on your soft skills, and when I say soft skills, I mean your life skills and things that nobody can sort of teach you, things like being resilient and learning that got to push yourself sometimes, and that you've got to take yourself out of your comfort zone, and you've got to sometimes speak up, and also sometimes know when not to speak up, and learning all these sort of like how to communicate properly with people, and just being more resilient, I think, to what this working world's like.
Yeah. Why should more girls choose tech?
I think tech is an awesome industry that most people think is just coding and spreadsheets, when that is probably not even 1% of the industry. It's got a huge plethora of jobs. Some are not even technical. You don't have to be technical to work in tech.
Have you ever dealt with imposter syndrome? And if you have, how did you deal with that?
I still suffer imposter syndrome every single day.
Really?
I think it's bigger than people realise. And I think it's really easy to go in a room and just because someone looks confident, assume that they know what they're doing, when inside you might be slightly dying a little bit because you don't actually know what you're doing, but you've got to make it look like on the outside that you are. I just had a job where I was looking after a technical team where I didn't even know what the tech was, to be the software they were looking after. I didn't actually know what it was, but I was put in charge of this team, and I had to go off and learn the tech, but the team were very established and they didn't want a manager, let's just put it that way. I wasn't going to be any use to them. I couldn't help them in any way whatsoever, and it took me a long time to get out of my head that I shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
And that over time I had to earn that trust and build that relationship with each of them individually for them to finally realise that actually I could help them, and I didn't necessarily need to know that piece of tech. I just they're the experts, they've got industry knowledge for years and years, and that's okay. Imposter syndrome appears for me all the time.
Yeah. What does great leadership look like to you?
I'm very passionate about great leadership. I think that I've experienced myself many managers that were not necessarily great leaders, and I think that's because they've worked their way up the ranks and traditionally then ended up in a leadership role. Instead of them then identifying that with themselves, that they're not very good at it or don't like doing it, they just carry on doing that job, and that frustrates me so much. I'd rather someone stepped back and said, this isn't for me, I'm a techie and I want to stay a techie. I don't ever want to be like that, and the more managers I have that are like that, the more make me more determined to not be like them. Build really good, diverse teams, and that I'm supportive of everybody in that team and what their own careers are. The worst thing you could do as a manager is have a whole team of people who stay with you forever, and as sad as it is and you don't want people to move on, you're also supporting them in their own career, and if you help them take that next step, then you're doing your job, and that's the right thing to do.